Well, I'm going to ask you guys this question to kick us off, because we are talking about uncertainty, expectations, life not turning out the way that you expected. So let me ask you guys this. Do you remember what it was like to be a kindergartner? Okay, yeah. Kindergarten was awesome. But do you remember what it's like to look at the bigger kids and think that they were giants? Like, when you're little, you don't even have a concept of what age is. I asked my daughter, who's 3, I'm like, how old am I? And she's like, 6. No. When you're little, your expectations are strange because you haven't lived enough life yet. But bigger kids, when you're little, they just seem so huge. And then when you finally get there, you guys are 7th and 8th graders now, do you feel like you're that big person now? No? Yeah, no. Because now you see bigger people and you're like, oh, man, I thought I would look way cooler by this age. And some of you guys, you need to look a little cooler because you're lacking in the fashion department. But not you, JC. Not you, JC. I saw you. Yeah. But we have this image in our heads, and we don't ultimately live up to that expectation a lot of times. Life is going to turn out differently than you think. Life is just going to be different than you think. But today we're going to talk about how we turn our uncertainty into something unexpected. That you can do amazing things in times of uncertainty. And right now, you guys are in that time. Going into high school next year maybe, or going into 8th grade next year. You don't know what's going to happen, but it's a key transition point in your life. But you're going to surprise yourself if you learn how to embrace uncertainty. Because a lot of your friends, they're going to see times that are uncertain, they're going to see confusing things, and they're just going to retreat, or they're going to back up. They're not going to actually embrace the awesome opportunities that they have because they're too scared. But I'm going to give you guys the tools today to embrace uncertainty. Let's talk about unexpected things. Unexpected things happen all the time. Life is just full of them. My job is full of unexpected things, and interruptions are almost part of my job. That dealing with people's issues, meeting with people, that's not in my normal schedule, but yet I do it because it's unexpected. But nothing makes your head spin more than something unexpected, like a plot twist in a movie, or in a book. If you're ever reading it and you're just like, whoa, what? You just don't know how to react. He was dead the whole time? What? You guys clearly haven't seen that movie, but it's okay. I won't spoil it for you. Have you ever spoiled a movie for someone, though? Yeah. Some of you guys take pride, you really want to spoil it for somebody. Yeah. That's the thing, is that people are so invested in these movies that when we spoil it for them, they're like, you ruined it. The unexpected thing becomes expected then. But life is not like that. Let's talk about our plans. You're going to make plans in life. Here's what you need to know. Our plans fall apart. Our plans fall apart. Unexpected things happen to remind us that really we're not in control. You're in control of your actions, your behavior, how you respond to stuff, for the most part. But ultimately, you are not in control of what happens in your life. Unexpected things are going to happen, and your plans are going to fall apart. How many of you guys, you made plans with your grade school friends that, when we grow up, we're going to, own our own business, or, live in this mansion? We all had, those friends that were we're going to be together forever. Spit brothers. Anybody ever be a spit brother? Yeah. You got, the spit handshake? I've never done it, and I kind of judge you if you did. But, me and my friends, we were going to build this awesome tree house. So, wait until we get older, and we learn how to build stuff. We're going to build the best tree house ever. Problem is, we grew older, but we didn't learn how to build stuff. And so, that never really happened. And plus, I'm not really friends with them anymore. But our plans, they usually turn out differently than we imagine. For me, one of the scariest things was transitioning to high school from 8th grade, because I was afraid that I wouldn't have any friends. And most of my friends from 8th grade were going to the same high school as me. Problem was, just life took us in different directions. Life took us in different directions, and we weren't able to stay as close friends. And so those first couple of days of high school were honestly kind of terrifying. So I'm just preparing you that first couple of days of high school might be scary. They might not be, but they might be scary. The scariest thing for me, and you might have like a PTSD moment right here, but the scariest thing for me was getting my lunch at lunchtime and like getting excited to eat my lunch and then realizing as I'm walking, like I have no clue where any of my friends are or like who to sit with. This is how I walk to lunch, by the way. And I had like a bag lunch because my mom always packed it for me. So I'm just kind of like looking around like, please, do I know anybody? Do I know anybody? I'm like, I talked to that kid once, I'm gonna sit next to him. And so we just we launch ourselves into these relationships. And I ended up making way different friends in high school than I did in junior high, but guess what? They were better friends, in my opinion. They were closer friends. And so yeah, it's scary, but it's worth it. We also underestimate ourselves. We underestimate what we can do. Because life is ironic sometimes. Sometimes the most insignificant thing can become really, really significant. Like you can look at somebody and kind of prejudge them like, oh, you're not going to amount to anything in life, but yet they end up becoming this awesome person. Let's think about what most people think of as the greatest president who's ever lived. Let's think about Abraham Lincoln. So Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. Most people would probably point to him as like, yeah, he was the greatest president. He was the president in one of the most uncertain times in U.S. history. And so a country divided against itself, like literally at war with itself. But let's talk about it. He was born in the middle of nowhere in a one-bedroom log cabin. Like in the middle of nowhere. He became a successful lawyer because he put himself through school. And later, I'm not going to give you a whole history lesson, but later, ultimately would become the president. And yet, his presidency did not end the way that he thought it would, or the way that his supporters thought it would. Unfortunately, he was shot and he was killed, but yet, he was able to lead. Sorry if I spoiled that for you, if you've not gotten there in history class. Yeah. What? But he led in an uncertain time, and he came from nothing. So you can come from nowhere and end up somewhere. Like all the greatest people that you know, like you can list off all the greatest people in U.S. history. They started off not too different than where you guys are. So unexpected things happen. It's how life works. The importance is how we respond. So I want to give you guys a few tips on how to respond to uncertainty. Because if you haven't faced it yet, it's coming. Let's talk about uncertain times. The times that you live in are uncertain. Maybe you feel like you're living that right now. Like a relationship is not going your way. Your grades are not going the way that you thought that they would go. Your grandma's not very happy about your report card. You can just picture her face, frowning and shaking at you. You think about your future, it's uncertain. There's just so many things in life that can scare us. But in these moments, it's actually very necessary for you to act or to change. In uncertain times, you have to have courage. And so let's talk about that. We need to have courage over comfort. Comfort is easy. Comfort is the path of least resistance. Courage does not take the path of least resistance. It goes against what you think is the right thing and helps you become somebody that you're not yet. There are times in your life you're going to look back and wonder how different it's going to be if you would have taken a risk. For me in college, I took a degree program that was in my comfort zone. But I wish I would have taken a risk and done something else. Because when I graduated, it was actually we call it the Great Recession, so it was kind of like the late 2000s. And I graduated, there were like no jobs anywhere, and I had a degree in philosophy and ethics. So guess what job I got? No. I applied to McDonald's. I wish. Like, I applied at QT, like a gas station, and I did not get a job. And I had a college degree. And so those are very uncertain times. I wish I would have taken the risk and maybe gone through secondary education or through other things like a business degree or something that was a little scarier to me, but I made a safe decision. So when you make big life decisions, you really have to put your courage over your comfort. And so there's this awesome quote, and I mispronounced her name earlier, so I'm going to try to say it the correct way. Brene Brown said this. She's talking about integrity. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. That's the important part. I'll read that last part again. It's choosing to practice our values rather than just professing them. So what does that mean? It's a lot easier to just say what you believe than it actually is to do what you believe. To put your faith or your beliefs into action. It's hard to do that. But if we want to put courage over comfort, that is what we have to do. So if you believe in being nice to people or having compassion for people, maybe put yourself in a position where you can do that. Maybe volunteer at a shelter, volunteer your time doing something. It's one thing to believe it, it's another thing to actually put it into action. So put your courage over your comfort. And also, you need to have confidence over clarity. Confidence over clarity. Confidence is something that we all need. You know, at the beginning of this talk, I asked you guys how good you are. Most of you guys right away just went to the thumbs down. Ugh. Unfortunately, that's kind of like the life that you guys live in, right? You compare yourself to others online. You see your friends on Instagram or people who are not your friends on Instagram or celebrities on Instagram, and you say, why isn't my life like this? Well, since my life isn't like this, like, I'm garbage. Like, I hear that phrase come out of teenagers' mouths more than anything. It's because they're comparing themselves to unattainable standards. And you guys lack in confidence. And so life can be very confusing, but you don't need clarity to go through life. You don't need to understand life. You don't need to see things clearly to actually be successful in life. You just need to have confidence. When you're learning to ride a bike, like, confidence is key because you have to keep going. Because you're going to mess up. You're going to fall down. You don't have to know like how the spokes work in your wheels and all the things that happen in your bike to make it go. And when you guys get older and you learn how to drive a car, you don't have to know how everything inside of the car works. It really helps, but you don't have to know. You just have to have confidence that you can be a good driver. So ultimately, you can't know what the future is going to hold, but you can know what the right thing to do is. You can know that. I mean, have you guys ever been in a position where you knew the right thing to do, but you just like didn't do it? Like maybe standing up to a bully, or maybe not giving a compliment to somebody. You're like, I really wish I would like tell them this, but instead I'm too scared and I'm gonna leave it. And so we miss out on opportunities, as small as that is, opportunities that over time could build some confidence in us. So what opportunities do you have today? I think when it comes to confidence, it's always good to remember that you are here for a reason. That's what I believe, is that you are here for a reason. And when we know that, that gives us confidence that there's something that we're supposed to be doing. So remember that life is going to turn out differently than you guys expect. Life is uncertain. There's nothing you can do to control it. So turn your uncertainty into something unexpected. You'll surprise yourself if you learn to embrace this uncertainty. Peace out.